Going to let Robbie Gordon go and see what happens.
There you see Derek Walker mulling strategy the rest of the way. One of his team cars for Frederick Ekblom, replacing my booth colleague Scott Goodyear, is already out of the race. Now they must work with Robbie Gordon. Field still circulating behind the safety car. Track cleanup appears to be about complete. Ride with Christian Fittipaldi, passing the jet dryer that blows the Speedy Dry off the track after it's been laid down to absorb all the fluid on the track. Christian Fittipaldi back in for a top up before sending him out so as not to lose too many positions.
That's the key thing here. If you have to go in and out of the pits, you certainly need to try and keep on that same lap that you're on. So you come in, do a little bit of service work, pop in, do some work again, and keep going in and out.
We'll take a quick timeout and be back for the green flag as our live coverage continues at the US 500. Stay with us.
When people hear the Hendrick Motorsports team switch to Quaker State this year, they'll probably think Quaker State rode us a big...
Down below, Al Unser Jr. leads the train of lapped cars. Now the lead lap cars begin to move in front as they are supposed to as we approach the green flag. Remember, no passing until they cross the start-finish line. Here they come, building the revs and powering into turn one here at Michigan again. Greg Moore all over the back of race leader Zanardi. Now Zanardi draws away. Honda power against Mercedes-Benz Gilmore.
Alex being able to run that low line coming off of 2, looking like Greg maybe ran just a little bit high.
Keep in mind, we got a report a few moments ago that he had turned down his turbocharger boost just a little bit, and still he just drove away.
Well, in some cases, if he is popping the valve like Jan was talking about, he'll actually find a little bit more horsepower now because he will not be popping the valve by clicking the boost down what they call 2 notches. Along with that, when you do blow the valve, you actually do use a little bit more fuel, so he's going to get 2 positive moves out of that if indeed he was blowing the valve. A little bit more horsepower, saving of fuel, and as we can see now, he's pulling away. Robbie Gordon is back in the pits.
Jan Bikas
brought it in. He was actually told to come into the pits because the car, you can see some of the smoke coming out of the back. We've already talked about the fact that they have pretty much already replaced everything that they thought that they could. I'm looking carefully to see, oh, here comes another electrical box. So I guess I was wrong. There are still a few more pieces that they could try. Now, the reason he was called in, we had to report that he was dangerous, and that doesn't mean necessarily that obviously there was smoke or oil. It means he wasn't running fast enough for the cars that are out on the track. They'll try now and see if they can cure the misfire and get him up to speed.
Thanks very much, Jan. Meanwhile, Andre Ribeiro runs in the middle of that pack with the yellow nose on his car.
And as Alex Zanardi passes the line, we're 100 laps into the event right now.
Ribeiro shown in 10th spot. Gil DeFerrin just ahead is in 9th, so that'll be a battle for position. Jimmy Vasser just ahead of DeFerrin comes under fire. This is for 7th place. DeFerrin takes it. Now you see one of the Penske's moving slowly and being passed. Get a look at which car that is. Ride with Gil DeFerrin looking out the back. I mentioned before the Honda's running with about 900 horsepower. We should point out that with a reduction to 40 inches of boost for this 500-mile race and the extra 100 revs or so they will take out of these cars to last the distance, the Honda probably operating at a little over 800, perhaps 820 horsepower. Still, that is a pretty stout push behind your back. For their part, the Mercedes-Benz engineers feel like they've come to terms with the Honda horsepower. Ford and Toyota continue their efforts to catch up. Mark Blundell down low. Comparison of lap speeds. Blundell looks down the inside. Blundell is very forthright in his assessment of what it takes to drive the big ovals in America. He says he has really learned a few things. It's not something that you take with anything less than your full attention. Jan Bikas, what have you got?
Bob, steps ago, sorry about that, I was waiting for the mic to be open. You were talking about the horsepower. You said obviously 900 horsepower, we think, in the 45-inch boost trim for the Honda. Now, the Honda people feel as though they have an advantage when they're running at 40 inches of boost for two reasons. The first reason is they were the first engine manufacturer to have a special program to develop a specific engine just for 40 inches. They did that in 1995. But in 1996, they started a new program to reduce the friction on the engine. Now, that would show more, you would think, at 40 inches of boost as opposed to 45. So the internal parts with less friction seem to be the key to the Honda speed.
Gilles de Ferran going underneath one of the Penske cars. Now tucking back behind. That's Al Unser Jr. Unser Jr. presently shown in 16th place and a lap down. Gilles de Ferran is around. Marty Reed has more on his situation.
Yeah, guys, 2 stops ago, the team, Jim Hall's team, went the wrong direction. They changed the front wing. It was absolutely opposite of where they needed to. So this last stop, they corrected it. Obviously, it's working. This is a car that is on the move. And these guys, remember, this is one of 2 teams that literally was thrashing like crazy just to make the start. What a comeback story this would be after that crash.
Well, they also had problems in qualifying. If you were with us, you know that Gilles de Ferran blew his engine, waved off. Fortunately, it happened before he took the green flag for his qualifying laps. Came back at the end of the session and qualified the car solidly in the field. That was a close moment for them. You see 144 laps remaining on our EDS timing and scoring. There's a look at Gilles de Ferran. Up from 13th to 4th position. 7 seconds as measured from the start-finish line. Of course, it expands and contracts as the cars make their way around this 2-mile V-shaped oval. Powering by Hiro Matsushita in the paint and point entry.
As we were listening to Jan talk about the 40 inches of boost, 40 inches will be what we're going to run at all the tracks next year in 1997 with all the kart races, be it road course, super speedway, or 1-mile track. Some other changes next year. Some improved head protection in the 1997 cars. A crushable zone back behind the driver's seat. So we watch a great run here with Greg Moore in second, Andre Ribeiro chasing him in third. Some great laps being run, 226 miles an hour. You see Robbie Gordon still having a problem in the Valvoline car. Absolutely no power. Looks like he's pointing to go in behind the pit wall. Probably knows his day is done. Certainly no points for Robbie and the Derek Walker team here this weekend.
And while the battle continues on the track between Greg Moore and Andre Ribeiro, Ribeiro absolutely delighted with his victory earlier this year in Brazil. And of course, Rio de Janeiro was in full samba mode after that victory by a native son. Jan Bikas has more.
Well, I have some more on Andre Ribeiro. I just spoke with Steve Horn, the team owner, and he said, Jan, remember, this car has never been run here. The last time we ran it was on a road course at Mid-Ohio testing. They did not run it. They did not shake it down. What they did was they duplicated the settings of the primary car when they had to switch over to the spare after that first lap, or I should say pace lap accident. And at the moment, the reports from Andre Ribeiro is the car is absolutely perfect. They down here are so excited. The only thing they're a little disappointed is that they did not have enough time to get the telemetry onto this car. So at the moment, they've done the old try and true method. They have him call in and read the settings off of the dashboard.
All right, thanks, Jan, and that's a big boost for the Tasman International team, considering they weren't able to get Adrian Fernandez back into the race after that big crash at the start.
Number 49, Parker Johnstone, now at the 5th spot, starting the race in 16th after a disappointing qualifying run. They certainly are one of the teams that found some speed over the last couple of weeks here.
Absolutely. Parker Johnstone and the Bricks Racing Comtech team got no testing here at Michigan after having some crash problems in the early races of the year. They spent a lot of time repairing race cars rather than testing them. So they really had to roll the dice. They weren't as fast as they wanted in qualifying, but they are one of the teams that found something, went and tested at Milwaukee on the oval there before coming back here. And they are one of the teams that picked up tremendous speed running very competitively in the final days of practice before this inaugural US 500.
Parker Johnstone being able to run that low line also. I saw him run high a little while ago, and now he's being able to run low. That tells you the car is working very, very well for him. I think we can recall that they also had to make some adjustments to this car, put some other parts on it after that crash.
Running in 7th place, Parker Johnstone, the 4th-generation rancher from the Pacific Northwest. Zanardi leads, but we'll be back to Michigan.
In 1990.
On the left has it. Parker Johnstone on the right wants it, and he goes underneath the points leader looking for it. This battle has gone on for several laps now, and Johnstone sweeps around to take 5th place from Vassar.
Looks like Jimmy had a little bit of a hiccup there right in the center of turns 3 and 4, because Parker just picked up about 8 or 10 miles an hour and just walked completely past him, and he was trying that low line for about the last 4 or 5 laps and never being able to complete it.
Jan Beekes has more on Parker Johnstone's situation.
Well, we checked with the team to find out which brand, not the brand, but which compound of the tires he's running. He is running the option compound just like Vassar.
Thanks, Jan. Meanwhile, Greg Moore and Andre Ribeiro split a slower car in the battle for 2nd place. Moore has it for the moment.
One has to be impressed with the Mercedes power here, being able to run up front all day with the Honda power plants, as Andre Ribeiro tries a lower line this time. And he never seems to be able to complete it. Looks like he might have just a little bit too much drag on the car. And here he goes. He's going to try and get a tow right now. Slipstream's underneath. Nice timing. He's going to have to be able to try to complete it as he goes side by side into turn 1. Andre comes out on top of that one.
Brian Herta fired the first shot for Mercedes by qualifying a Mercedes-Benz powered car on the front row for this race. Right now, Greg Moore, the Players-sponsored car for Jerry Forsythe's team, is giving it a good run as well. Here's a look at Ribeiro's progress thus far. The winner at New Hampshire last year. The Brazilian has truly found a place in IndyCar. 9 countries represented in the 27 cars that started this race. James Allen in the pits.
Well, one guy who's really had a rough day, Robbie Gordon. We've heard all kinds of conflicting messages about the day you've had. We heard you had an undrivable car. Is that true?
No, our car was great in traffic. I mean, it was a little slow when it's by itself, but, you know, I did the quickest laps I did all weekend in traffic. So, you know, Lee and the guys, they did a great job giving us a car. Looks like maybe something happened to electronics in the beginning, and then we ended up losing the motor.
We noticed you used the draft a lot here today. Has that made a big difference to you and the Ford runners?
It's the only way I can keep up with those guys. You know, but it's not over. Things change by mid-season. Hopefully we'll be on power and be looking forward towards the end of it.
I always admire an optimist. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much. The point situation behind leader Jimmy Vassar could be interesting following this race. Alonso Jr. second in points coming in, presently shown back in 16th spot, 4 laps down to the leader. As you watch Andre Ribeiro making his way around. Scott Pruitt, who came into this race 3rd in points, is out and will score no points whatsoever. Greg Moore, who was 4th, just 13 behind Pruitt, runs 3rd in the race. Gilles de Ferran, who came in 5th, just 3 points behind Moore, is in 4th spot. Meanwhile, Alex Zanardi leads away. 126 laps remaining as you watch Ribeiro. Then Greg Moore, 2nd and 3rd. It's slower traffic ahead.
We've just gone past the halfway mark of the event at 125 laps. Everybody should know just about everything they need to know about the race car at this point in time. The weather conditions do not seem to be changing. They seem to be stable, cooling off maybe just a little bit from what we anticipated a little bit earlier today. They should have a good understanding of the car. They should have a good understanding of the stagger that they want to use, the wing setups, and how the car reacts in traffic. Everybody should just about be set from here on into the end of the race.
Good look there at the huge crowd gathered here at Michigan International Speedway. The Indy cars will be back here later this summer for another epic battle, no doubt. The order is Zanardi, Ribeiro, Moore, DeFerran, Johnstone, Vassar, Herta, Blundell, Gugelmin, and Rahal, your top 10. Tracy Allenzer Jr. on our EDS timing and scoring. Have to find out what's going on.